Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look at how the USE minis unfolded, particularly on the YM and the ES, because I was looking at these in our customer only training webinar yesterday, which was on Friday. So I want to start with the ES. Let's go let's go over to the ES. Now what we're looking at the ES, we're looking at this DP buy setup here, this automatic setup that actually caught the very low of the day for you, and we're looking at this as an advanced trade setup because it was against the red STF. And what we were saying was, because the DP here, if I right mouse click, do Elliott wave intermediate, was off the end of a 5-wave sequence here, for some customers you could have wanted to take this one, because that could have been your trade plan to take setups at the end of a 5-wave sequence like this, particularly when they unfold at the typical wave 5 WPT. However, what I was also saying was, because we were looking at the 15-minute chart as well, and on the 15-minute chart you can see we had a TS1 sell, so on the 15-minute chart the larger degree trend appeared to be down. So what I was suggesting was, because the larger degree trend was down, this trade was probably a bit more risky or aggressive, therefore you could use the 100% initial risk guideline. So if I do the analysis, you can see that I was suggesting that once it exceeded this level here, you'd have actually been stopped out for break even. Now this trade did go up and reach the first target, but nevertheless it would have been considered slightly more risky because it's against the large degree trend. And this is what I was talking about in yesterday's webinar, or Friday's webinar. It's all about how to decide whether you want to be more aggressive with your stop loss management or less aggressive. In other words, willing to take the full 1 hour risk or 1 hour initial risk, as we can see here, depending on the large degree trend. Let's now compare that to the YM. If I go to the YM, you can see we had a couple of trade setups here. So how would these have been any different? Well, of course we go to the higher time frame. So let's go out to the 15-minute chart. And can you see here that the chart is slightly different? Yes, we had a TS1 sell earlier, in other words on the day before, which was Thursday, but we also had a TS1 buy setup come in here at 10 o'clock on Friday. So in other words, after 10 o'clock, this TS1 buy setup would have been printed on the 15-minute chart. Therefore, the large view trend was clearly seen to be up. So let's now go down to the 3-minute chart. Here's our 10 o'clock low, which is actually the same low as we were looking at on the ES, but the difference here is, because this was now a 15-minute or larger degree low, this was now the initial move up, which we would consider a wave 1 in Elliott wave terms. This initial correction down here would then be considered a wave 2, subdividing into an ABC. Therefore this will be what we consider a holy grail trade setup. There was a first try at this particular level here. You see, here's our ABC setup. This would have gone in for a long trade and been stopped out for a loss. Remember, we use correct position sizing to keep our losses small and under control. In other words, this loss would be what we call one risk unit. It then made a second attempt here. Let's place the analysis on here. Now, because this was a holy grail trade setup, in other words, because this was an important low, it was an important low because it came in at a higher time frame. In other words, our TS1 on our 15-minute chart, that's what the definition of a holy grail trade setup is. The important low there, initial rally wave 1, initial correction would be wave 2, therefore we're anticipating a wave 3 kind of swing. So in other words, we're not looking to come out at our first target here, which nevertheless would have been a standard trade setup because the STF was black here. So we wouldn't be looking to come out our first target. We'll be aiming for our typical wave 3 WPT target. This is why these targets have labels in them, so we know what the levels are or what the levels represent. So in other words, this is the level we would be aiming for. In other words, we'd be looking to hold this long trade all day. It didn't quite reach the target. It actually would have been stopped out on close for about 5.6, 5.7 hour profit. So even though we made a losing trade to start with, minus 1 hour loss would have been small compared to the plus 5.7 hour profit. But here we also can see that this would have actually gone past the 100% initial risk level and gone back to stop you out. However, and this was the whole topic of the training webinar on Friday, because we had a higher confidence in the larger degree trend. In other words, because this low here was at a 15-minute TS1 low, I'll just go with that and show you again. You see here was our 15-minute TS1 low. Therefore, we had a high confidence that the large degree trend had now turned up. Because we had a high confidence that on the YM the large degree trend was up, therefore on these buy setups here we would not, I repeat, would not move our stop to break even once the 100% initial risk level. So this has been a very good video to show the difference between when you move your stop to break even using the 100% initial risk level intraday. These are only for intraday charts. On daily charts we tend to use the 100% initial risk guideline anyway, but on intraday charts we can very often get a wiggle like this that would stop you out prematurely. And you can see that's exactly what may have happened in this case. So this is the guideline that I was trying to talk about, and this is a great example. So the difference being again is because we had a high confidence on this 15-minute chart, we do not move our stop to break even. Let's go back and look at the ES, which we started with, and see the difference between that. The difference here is because we did not have the high confidence on this long trade, we would have moved it to break even. And the difference is because if I go to the 15-minute chart, the difference is because we don't know that low there, or we haven't got a high confidence on the ES anyway, that is indeed an important low. The large degree trend looked like it was down. So this has been a great example of when to use the 100% initial risk guideline, i.e. on this first ES trade, and when not to use the 100% initial risk guideline. In other words, be willing to accept your full 1R risk, as on the YM example here. And as you can see, this would have been a very, very good trade with us coming in on the long side here, holding the trade for the vast majority of the day and coming out with a plus 5.7R profit. Remember, correct position sizing varies our number of lots, contracts or shares to keep our initial risk small under control. So even though there was a losing trade here, that loss was kept small at minus 1R, and when this profitable trade came through it was plus 5.7R. So this is why I wanted to post this video today, because not only was it showing a great example of what we call our Holy Grail trade setup, which is one of my favourite trade setups, but also highlighted or illustrated perfectly what I was talking about on Friday about when to use the 100% initial risk guideline intraday for moving your stop to break even, and that's all dependent on how much confidence you have on the large degree trend. So this has been a very, very good training exercise, and also a very good exercise to show how MTPredictor coped with the rally on Friday on the YM. The result, a very nice profitable trade, as you can see.